America is not sending their best and brightest.
Everybody thinks that I have almost no chance of winning, right?
Question forces me to condemn Hamas if I support Hamas.
Why is it so difficult to condemn Hamas on college campuses? I agree with Senator Shrek again for some reason. An immigrant is deciding to run for president, although he can legally not. A black Amber Alert that will prioritize black children is now in effect in California, and SAG-AFTRA negotiations fall apart yet again. All that coming up on this episode of Daily Caller Live. Starts right now.
2, 1.
Here we go!
Might be the only brown guy on earth named Jobob.
That is actually her name, Jobob.
Live from a swanky hotel in downtown Miami. My name is Jobob. This is the Daily Caller Live. Thanks so much for tuning in on today. It is Thursday, October 12th, the year of our Lord 2023. Got a lot of just interesting things. You peruse around the internet and you find and come across things that are just like this. Is this actually happening? And you know, I'm sure you've had those experiences as well. But I want to start off here today with a clip from a while ago. This is about, almost 15 years. Well, no, okay, I can do simple math. 13 years ago. This is a clip from 2010 that I think was fascinating, just kind of showing what exists. David Horowitz, speaker, among other things, was at the University of San Diego, I believe, or San Diego State, or one of those universities in San Diego. And a question came up from one of the students asking him just to condemn something going on campus. I honestly wasn't really sure of who it was on campus. But so then the conversation goes into whether or not this student will condemn Hamas. Now, this is obviously 13 years ago, 2010, but that doesn't mean Hamas was any less bad. They were still doing horrible things, saying horrible things. Now they've carried out those horrible things in the biggest way that they've ever done. And, the bottom line here is this is a fascinating exchange between a Jewish person and a pro-Hamas person. It's a little bit long, but I do want you to watch this. Again, this is from 2010, and it seems to be pretty self-explanatory, especially when it wraps up towards the end. Watch this.
If you condemn Hamas, Homeland Security will arrest you.
If I support Hamas, because your question forces me to condemn Hamas. If I support Hamas, I look really bad.
If you don't condemn Hamas, obviously you support it. Case closed. I have had this experience. I had this experience at UC Santa Barbara, where there were 50 members of the Muslim Students Association sitting right in the rows there. And throughout my hour talk, I kept asking them, will you condemn Hezbollah and Hamas? And none of them would. And then when the question period came, the president of the Muslim Students Association was the first person to ask questions. And I said, before you start, will you condemn Hezbollah? And he said, well, that question is too complicated for a yes-no answer. So I said, okay, I'll put it to you this way. I'm a Jew. The head of Hezbollah has said that he hopes that we will gather in Israel so he doesn't have to hunt us down globally. For it or against it?
For it.
Thank you. Thank you for coming and showing everybody what's here. And you're wearing a terrorist neckerchief.
If you understood...
you didn't hear the lady.
Could you please answer my question?
You don't get to make a speech.
Holy cow. And I mean, that there's no mincing words there. He basically said, do you think that, effectively said, do you think when Hamas says all the Jews should gather in Israel so he doesn't need to hunt them down? And she said, oh yeah, I'm for that. All right. And this is, again, 13 years ago, but that stuff hasn't gone away. This is just one example, one of many. I think we talked about the Harvard letter yesterday of all of those different groups supporting what happened on Saturday in Israel. But this is just another one of those types of stories. NYU Law Bar Student Association, and the Daily Mail points out that they are non-binary. It's clearly a girl. President said this. Oh, shoot. Where's the actual quote? I'll have to go back to the actual photo. All right, give me a second. Said this: Israel bears full responsibility for the tremendous loss of life. The regime of state-sanctioned violence created the conditions that made resistance necessary. I will not condemn Palestinian resistance, said the president of the NYU Law School Bar Students Association, which is, okay, geez. What a weird... Dave Rubin pointed out on in a tweet, said, if you look at the two sides today, which side do you think Hitler would have supported? Which is a pretty good way of making the point that there is right and wrong here. There's none of this. There's not really the ambiguity that a bunch of your heady intellectuals are thinking of, like, well, you never know. Who knows? It's just not the case. To defend the atrocities on Saturday is justification for evil, which is not a position you want to be in. Now, this was also interesting. This student, Raina Workman, had her job offer officially rescinded. Now, it was pointed out, if you're going to work as a lawyer in New York City specifically, you're going to be working with a lot of Jewish people. Just statistically, factually accurate. I can't imagine that the law firms you're going to be working with, again, as a lawyer in New York City, are going to be super open and understanding of your stance of wanting to kill them, which is, again, a crazy stance that I feel like, too, there's also the people that in these, like, college bubble situations that are making these crazy outlandish statements should take a step outside of their fringe minority little culture that they've got there and go look at how the rest of the world sees this and understand that the stance that what Hamas did is justifiable and it's Israel's fault, is that stance is actually an extremist stance. Again, a very fringe minority of people think that. Now, those people shouldn't be ignored in the sense that everybody should be aware that those people exist. But at the same time, I feel like there's a lot of people on college campuses that think that, well, yeah, everybody thinks this. That's not the case at all. And speaking of this, and we'll not necessarily dive away from Israel, but again, I don't want to necessarily talk about this the entire time. But this is worth mentioning. One of the former leaders of Hamas yesterday called for a day of world global jihad for tomorrow, openly calling for the death of all non-Muslims, including and especially Jews and Americans. I don't know what this guy's name is, unpronounceable to me. I didn't want to play his video, but just so you know, that's happening. Now, I'm not here to scare people necessarily. I don't think that's necessarily the goal, and I don't think there was a couple tweets. This has been a really, really interesting thing to watch go back and forth on Twitter. This guy says, well, tomorrow, Friday, will be a day of global jihad and death to everyone that they always say death to. And there's two ways to look at it. There's the way of be cautious and careful, and maybe don't venture out of your house. That's one way. And then there's the other way of, hey, pound sand, terrorist idiot. You don't get to tell me how to live my life, and I'm not going to be scared of you. I tend to lean more towards that side of the fence. Stay strapped, live your daily life. But this what a weird time that that sentiment can be echoed across the world very quickly, and some people even may take it seriously. And those people are evil and terrible, and I'm not going to say, well, do what you will with that information. I'm not here to scare you. I can't imagine my daily life is going to change all that much tomorrow, given despite the threat of a day of jihad, but who knows? Anyways, just so you know, that's happening, and there's several different ways to look at it. AOC also said some really, I say interesting, but when I say interesting and when I say things like amazing, I don't necessarily always mean good. I think people conflate the term amazing with awesome and really, really cool. Amazing sometimes can mean I cannot believe an individual said this particular thing. But I don't need to get into what she said specifically. Just know that there are people in Congress, AOC, Rashida Tlaib, Ilhan Omar, that are saying things that are like, holy cow, I can't imagine that you said that thing out loud. But we'll move on from the Israel stuff. Again, it's going to be in the news constantly over the next couple of weeks, I think, as things get more and more heated. But such is the modern world that we live in. I thought this was interesting. Biden officially has a Democrat primary contender, supposedly. Actually, he doesn't. And I'm curious to see the legality of any of this stuff. Cenk Uygur, who is the founder and kind of main talking head of the Young Turks, which are, I think, the name made sense for a very finite period of time. I don't know how young Cenk is now. But anyways, he's announced that he's running for president against Joe Biden. Now, Cornel West, who was running as a Democrat for president, and RFK Jr. Was also running for president as a Democrat, have both since said they're running as independents. Kennedy is now running as an independent. Cornel West is running as an independent. Nobody knows. In the case of Kennedy, nobody knows if Kennedy is going to take more votes away from the Democrat side or the Republican side. I honestly think it's a toss-up. I have no idea. But anyways, they're not running as independents, which leaves the field solely in the hands of the ancient, mind-addled President Joe Biden. And a lot of people are not cool with that, including this guy named Cenk Uygur. Now, here's the problem. Cenk was not born in this country, which is a requirement constitutionally to run for president of the United States. Now, having said that, I don't necessarily know how much that matters anymore. There are people that happened to be born in different countries that love America and appreciate the values that this country has been built upon more than people that are born here. And that is obvious to see. Now, should that entirely disqualify them from being president? I'm not entirely sure. But as it stands right now, Cenk Uygur can't run for president of the United States, even though he says he's going to. I don't know how that plays out constitutionally. If you run for president in the United States when you're not legally allowed to, what happens? Are you not allowed to file the paperwork? Are you not allowed to appear on the ballots? What about the people that give you money? Are they complicit in an unconstitutional crime? I have no idea, because I don't think this has happened anymore. I think the most similar situation is like when Ted Cruz decided to run. Ted Cruz was born in either Canada. I think he was born in Canada. Yeah, Ted Cruz was born in Canada, but his dad was part of the military, to my understanding, and so he's allowed to, despite not being born in this country. Cenk Uygur is a full-blown not born here, which, again, I don't think that necessarily disqualifies you from being a full-fledged participating American citizen if you love this country. This is aside from Cenk's ultra-progressive views. But again, that's a conversation for a different time. The bottom line is, as it stands right now, he can't run for president. And so what happens then is, again, I don't know. Now, it is kind of interesting because even he has an understanding that the fact that he's like, I can't win. Like, let's be realistic here. I won't win. But he has some pretty interesting reasoning for doing it. This is what he said is his reason as to why he's running for president against Joe Biden as a Democrat. Check this out.
So the idea is to create enough pressure on Biden. And here's how you get the pressure. One of the ways you get the pressure is everybody thinks that I have almost no chance of winning, right? Well, let's keep it real. Everybody knows that, right? They're like, oh, your name is funny. You weren't born here. You're a progressive. You're an outsider, et cetera, right? If I
there's other reasons as to why he's not. I'm not in the picture here. There's other reasons as to why he wouldn't win. But anyways, we'll let him continue.
I get to 20 or 25. Panic sets in. There's no question panic sets in because there's two things that happen there. One, the other candidates go, well, Biden is enormously weak, right? Number two is Biden begins to realize the handwriting's on the wall. If this Cenk Uygur, who he probably can't pronounce, has gotten to 25, the handwriting's on the wall. He's gotta go. And by the way, Anna, the reason why this is realistic is because there are a lot of people in Washington, inside the establishment, that are trying to get Joe Biden to drop out. We need to help them. We need to create that pressure.
Okay, let me jump in.
So yeah, so there's that. Now, here's another funny, interesting tidbit that I don't know, I thought was amusing when I was going through this story. So Cenk lives in the LA area, and that's not a doxing thing. He's open about it. But he lives in the LA area, and I believe it was 2018. Was it 18? Or is it 20? No, I think it was 20. Ran for Congress of the United States of America. And I only know that because I was running another campaign or helping. I was working on a campaign with a friend running George Papadopoulos. You may remember his name from the Trump era. But Cenk and George Papadopoulos were running in the same race. It was for the seat now occupied by, Mike, up in the Six Flags Valencia area. Anyways, doesn't matter. When running for that seat in Congress, and this is a congressional seat, this isn't a national poll or anything, a small congressional seat in the LA area, Cenk got 6% of the vote. And look, I'm not dogging the guy too hard. Running for Congress is a big ordeal. And I think a lot of media people think that they could do it. Having come out of the campaign world, I will tell you that it's so much more difficult than a lot of the media people think it is. But good luck telling them that. Bottom line is the dude has run for stuff already, doesn't really poll super well, really anywhere. And tack onto that the fact that he's not legally allowed to run. He's saying, if I get 20%, 25% of the electorate, we're going to put pressure on Joe Biden to resign and then open the door for other more qualified Democrat candidates. I get it. I understand the sentiment. Good luck. I guess that's all I'll say there. Good luck, dude. We'll see how that works out. Speaking of another crazy thing coming out of the LA area, did you hear about this? There is a new Amber Alert priority system in place to put a higher emphasis / priority on missing Black kids as opposed to just missing kids in general. It is called the Ebony Alert. California's newly enacted Ebony Alert law is the first of its kind in the nation to prioritize the search for Black youth gone missing. And if you think, well, that sounds racist, the reason that you think that is because it is. It's horrendously racist. Now, when I look at stuff like this, you got to wonder, like, why? Why is this happening? And I'm just thinking anecdotally here, considering let's take minorities as a whole. Well, I guess you can't really do that because immigrants being different. I'm just saying statistics here. It's not a world that I want to live in, but it's just reality. The single parentness in the Black community is substantially higher. And what I wonder is this law born out of the fact that more Black kids, quote unquote, go missing because one parent, there's custody dispute. One parent takes them, the mom or the dad can't find the kid, and therefore a missing persons report is filed. And you see situations like this all the time where one parent has the child and the other parent says, well, the child's been kidnapped. I wonder if the prioritization of looking for Black kids is because that's probably more common, and therefore the statistics would seem higher that Black kids go missing more often. I don't know specifically, but this is what NBC says. Gavin Newsom signed Senate Bill 673 into law Sunday morning. It's on Sunday, making California the first state to create an alert system similar to the Amber Alert to address the crisis of missing Black children and young women. Yeah, that kind of makes a lot of sense. The Ebony Alert will be used for missing Black people aged 12 to 25. Data shows that Black or brown or indigenous brothers and sisters, when they go missing, are very rarely get the type of media attention, let alone Amber Alerts and police resources than our white counterparts. Again, I think there's probably some other statistical reasoning behind that, but bottom line is, I think the systems and the infrastructure that we've put in place to help find people that are missing should not discriminate at all in any way, shape, or form. Now, is that to say that they are doing so intentionally? I would say no. And so what I would like instead is, hey, maybe let's amp up the search for everybody and not then say, well, we need to prioritize this group over this group. I feel like that is the only thing lefties can jump to, and it's just the worst possible solution if you want to have a more united states. Wow, look at that. But anyways, that's the new law in California. The incredible racism of the lefties in the country rears its ugly head yet again, and there we go. We'll get into this really, really quick. The SAG-AFTRA strike is bottom line, the SAG-AFTRA strike talks fell through. We don't need to get into like the minutia of that because I do want to make time for this before I gotta. Jeez, I'm running late again because I'm always running late. Not necessarily for the show, but I gotta catch a flight. I'll be in Atlanta tonight with Candace Owens. So if you're in that neck of the woods, we'll be at Georgia Tech. You can go to my Instagram, click for tickets, all that sort of stuff. So that's where I gotta go. But anyways, I agree with Senator Schreck yet again. In kind of an ironic and funny way, again. Last time I think I agreed with him, he was saying, why are we giving land to the Chinese Communist Party? And I was like, yeah, that's crazy. Why are we doing that? Anyways, I want you to listen to this clip from, is this Kimmel? No, this is Colbert. Watch this. Senator Schreck says some things, and I happen to agree. Check it out.
You all should need to know that America is not sending their best and brightest, to Washington, D.C. Yes.
I wonder right now if Colbert is like, yeah, case in point. I agree with you, Senator Schreck, and you're the prime example for the thing you're complaining about right now. We'll continue.
Like sometimes you literally just can't believe, these people are making the decisions that are, determining the government here. It's actually scary.
I agree. Yes. And one of the biggest scary individuals, both figuratively and physically, is Senator Schreck here, who's talking about himself. I don't know how worked up I'm supposed to be over this. I genuinely find it amusing. Like, He said, yes, the senators the people that we're sending to Washington, D.C. are completely incompetent and not the brightest in the bunch and shouldn't be trusted with difficult and important policy discussions. Correct. I agree. And the biggest example of a person who shouldn't be in D.C., Senator Shrek. But anyways, such is the ironic world that we all live in nowadays. What are you going to do about it? That'll do it for us today. Appreciate you sticking around, tuning in. Thanks for bearing with me while we're on the road here. I know it's these are all kind of jumbled together or less. Not that I prepare a ton, regardless, but even less prepared when we're on the multiple conjoining tours that we're currently on. But if you haven't already, give me a follow on any of your social media accounts. Just type in JOBOB. The Facebook chyron is wrong. It has been wrong for the last 2 years, and I am too lazy to change it. So just type in JOBOB. You'll be able to find me pretty much anywhere. Like I said, I will be in. Where am I now? I'm in Miami now. I will be in Atlanta tonight with Candace Owens at Georgia Tech. Tickets are, if you just type in JOBOB or tpusa.com/live free, you'll be able to find tickets there. Candace is a rock star. These are super fun events. So if you live in the Atlanta area or in the surrounding metro area, it'd be great to see you tonight. But we'll see you tomorrow, going back home. Yes. In the Dingy Bunker tomorrow, same time, different place. See you then. God bless America.